So ladies and gentlemen, you know I like to cover things that are related to kids. As a father, it's very important to me. And the video is House Judiciary Committee holds hearing on gender-affirming care policies.
Because these children, you have been willing to put yourselves out there to address something that many people want you to stop talking. They want to prevent you from talking.
Yep.
Don't listen to them. Make sure that you continue to use your voice to educate us, to educate the American people, because these children are worth saving.
Always.
Dr. Bowens, I want to thank you for being here. And in your testimony, you referenced what I think is one of the more important points in this debate, and that children are treated as special and a vulnerable class in the psychological and research fields. You referenced the experience of at Tuskegee, and to me, the important takeaway here is that controversial so-called healthcare practices, treatments, and experience have not always withstood the test of time. Outside of your reference, I think of how lobotomy was once a form of care we wouldn't even consider today, and in fact has been banned in countries throughout the world.
A lot of people have been saying that maybe in the future we're going to look back at this and they're going to be like, what were we thinking? But who knows?
In this debate, I have wanted to replace the misleading terminology gender-affirming care, especially as it relates to children, because one, it replaces the biological reality of sex, and two, because it falsely suggests that using the term affirming that there is anything good going on here.
Yeah.
There are only two sexes, boys are girls, or boys are boys, yet girls are girls, and one cannot become
I do not say it, YouTube. Relax.
the other. In fact, and especially when it comes to children, it seems to me that gender-affirming care is better described as sexual lobotomy.
Yep.
It is treatment that is fundamentally and permanently alters the sexuality and medical and psychological well-being of these patients. It causes irreversible sterilization and serious long-term medical complications.
Yeah, you're going to be a patient forever because you're forcing your body to change in a way that's not really natural, and you consistently need to take medicine. And it might feel good for a while, but I don't think anybody wants to battle their body for a very long time. Hey man, I can show you videos, what they're cutting and what they're changing. It makes you think very different about everything, okay? I don't want to even describe it. I don't want to make a meme, but what they're doing is different.
And long-term reliance on pharmaceuticals. These treatments and surgeries are controversial medical practices that seek to change a person in a manner which is not actually achievable, and they will not withstand the test of time. Dr. Bowens, are there medical professionals in the U.S. and abroad already rejecting these surgeries as any form of serious medical care?
Sweden is already doing it, Holland and some other places are already thinking about it, and I believe England already closed one because they were kinda approving kids within one Zoom call. And like, hey man, we're giving you therapy, bada bing bada boom, but we're going to do the operation, and if you don't do the operation, they're gonna be like, well, we're going to cancel the therapy. So the kid feels forced to do it anyway because the therapy makes them feel good.
Yes, thank you for your question. And we are seeing an increase of medical professionals speaking out. Just this past week, there were 21 doctors that came out and said, we are very concerned about this. The own AAP, American Academy of Pediatrics, was referenced earlier, and 80% of their membership has been asking for a review of the literature, and they've been denied that review by the upper echelon. So there are, and I've listed many other countries, there are people who are standing up because they're seeing the harms done to these kids like Chloe Cole.
Can you discuss why referring to these treatments as life-saving treatment is so extremely misleading?
That's a good question. Because everybody is saying it's the snippety snip, right?
Yeah, it's misleading for a number of reasons, because for one, the whole impetus of the scientific method is that we're discovering things. We're supposed to be in a process of, is this the right approach or not? And this whole discussion about saying that it's life-saving automatically says there's no room for discussion, there's no room for scientific inquiry because the science is settled, which is, it's an...
That's a good point. I already showed the video that a lady says the doctors were saying we're building the plane.
She said that doctors at that clinic said, we are building the plane while we are flying it.
If you're building a plane while flying it, you cannot, if you're comparing what you're doing, like you're building a plane while we're flying it, you can't tell me the science is settled. Officially, that's a beta test. It's an experiment. You're using kids. And now you found a way that you can even go behind the parents' back to activate this, and they need to just watch. And that is one of the most horrible things that you can do to someone. A parent. I'm like, come on, man.
Amazing statement, because the suicide literature has been around far longer than the transgender literature, and the suicide literature is not conclusive. So we have a real, right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing.
Okay.
It seems to me what we've been living through for the last couple of years is a government that wants to suppress any type of speech that it disagrees with. And we're seeing that with the industrial censorship complex that we've been talking about. And it appears that that's exactly what's going on here. They want to stop the debate because they know that they can't win it. Dr. Bowens, my last question is what is the success rate of sex change operations?
Well, we have, it's hard to find longer-term data with children, but what the data that we do have, which is probably the most reliable data point available, is from a Swedish study, and it looked at over 10 years, which is really important because regret doesn't just happen a year after.
That is such a good point, because everybody's like, I know a person that's so happy within a year. I'm like, bruh, we're talking about time. Life is not a few years. You're gonna live till your 90s. There are people right now that have been taking puberty blockers that are young, like 16 or 20 or something like that, and they have certain changes in their body. That's like, yo, you kind of have the effects of old people. So I have no idea how this person is going to live comfortable till they reach that. I think personally, anecdotally, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist or whatever, but I would not be surprised that we're gonna have a lot of people with medical issues because of this, and nobody wants to be responsible, especially those that have pushed their own kids in that. I've seen kids blame their parents, and it's a horrible moment, and I don't wish it on anybody. I just wish people were more informed when they made the decision. Empathy is important.
Some sort of transition. And what you see is a suicide rate that's associated with 19 times higher than the general population.
Well, actually, there is a 0%, there's a 100% failure rate for sex change operations, isn't there? Because it's not possible to change your sex.
That's right.
100% failure rate for these procedures.
That's right. You can't change your sex.
Thank you, and I yield back.
I mean, you can feel. I can help you identify as anything else. But if you think about it physically, genetically, with the meat, blood, and everything, some things you can't change. People are just going along because you want to do that. But if you talk to scientists that want to have a voice and want to review the documents, there's a reason that you're saying, hey man, we don't want to review anything. The science is set. We're building a plane, we're flying it. Amen. I just think we live in unique times, and I wish people were more informed. Let me know what you think. Like, share, hit the bell notification as usual, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.